So certainly it is my honor now to recognize our next awardees who certainly have done a similar visioning in their own community in which they work in the town of Arlington. So it is really, again, my pleasure to now present our Open Door Champion Awards to Adam Chapdelaine, the town manager, and Jenny Raitt, the town's director of the Department of Planning and Community Development in the town of Arlington, with this recognition. It certainly is amazing to be able to honor folks who are doing this great work in the field. So I will give a brief introduction to their background, but again, their full bios are available on our website. Adam Chapdelaine has served as town manager for the past decade, and his passion for affordable housing and equity are inextricably intersections in terms of his work, and it really truly shines through in his leadership. Jenny Raitt is an award-winning planner with expertise in housing, community development, transportation, environment, and land use planning, and she serves as an elected Brookline Town Meeting member, and she's the Vice President and Vice Chair of Transit Matters, and is a member of the American Planning Association Legislative and Policy Committee, and has written a piece, Ending Zoning Racist Legacy, which was published in the zoning practice most recently. I am excited really to honor you both and thank you for your leadership on fair housing by continuing to shed light on barriers to equity in housing and your ongoing efforts to eliminate housing discrimination through a comprehensive fair housing plan. Thank you for your commitment to advancing the promise of fair housing for all in Acton by addressing the legacy of exclusionary past, by identifying impediments to fair housing, exploring issues of displacement of protected classes, disparate impact of policies, fair housing complaints brought in the town, and then really to develop policy and tool recommendations to address these things head on. We truly value, again, your leadership and initiative going above and beyond, all right, despite the suspended federal obligation under the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Rule in the creation of Arlington's Fair Housing Plan, and your commitment to ensuring a more equitable community through ongoing efforts to promote fair housing for all. Please join me in congratulating and applauding the efforts of both Adam Chapdelaine and Jenny Raitt, our Open Door Champion awardees. We hope that you hear loudly in the chat the many congratulations for this effort and for your ongoing work. And I will turn it over to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Whitney. Jenny, do you want to go first? Would you like me to go first? Or okay, thank you. Thank you, Whitney, and thank you to CHAPA. It really is, it's almost making me speechless to be recognized by CHAPA with this award today. And I think it's important to start by thanking CHAPA, right? For CHAPA, that is the reigning champion in fair housing and housing affordability and everything housing in Massachusetts, to be honored by such an organization is truly, truly humbling. From that, I think the biggest thing I want to say is really thank you and congratulations to Jenny and her team. She and her team are the pistons and the engine and the fuel and the oil, and I probably shouldn't use fossil fuel references like that anymore, but whatever the parts are of an electric engine, I should know. That's Jenny and that's her team, and they've done tremendous work in the production of the Fair Housing Plan, the recent completion and adoption of our housing production plan, and much more work in between. And this honor really is Jenny and her amazing teams. What I hope is that I am, have been and will continue to be an enabler and an uplifter of this work. I hope that I've been able to say yes when Jenny has come to me with the proposals to do this work, and that once the work has begun and has been completed, that I uplift it in conversations in Arlington and try to keep it as part of the dialogue so that we can actually implement the great recommendations that come out of the plans, predominantly this fair housing plan. And then the final thing I'd say is, I'd like to talk a little bit about why this work is important to me. And I don't know that I've ever actually in a public forum shared much about my upbringing, but much like Rachel did at the outset of the symposium, I grew up in Fall River in the first floor of a triple-decker house. And, the house was owned not by my family, but family. But I still knew what housing instability was. When I was 12, my father fell off a roof and hurt himself very badly and couldn't work for over a year. And then when I was 16, my father passed away from cancer, and my mother then raised myself and my younger brother. And I didn't know the language of housing instability, and I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I knew when the conversations happened in the hallway between my mom and the landlord that, things weren't stable. And I carry that with me today in understanding that, there are traumas that come from that, and that being able to make sure that everybody has access to housing and stable housing is the way of providing dignity to people all over the region, all over the state, really all over the world. So this work, I am passionate about this work, and my hope is that I can continue to play a role in enabling fair housing, affordable housing, and someday be able to dream about abundant housing so that all can have the dignity they deserve of having a home. So thank you, CHAPA. I really appreciate it. And I'll turn it over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Adam. Oh, my heart is beating so fast. It's partially because I'm nervous, but it's also because I just am so honored and so grateful, because this is my heart's work. This is where my heart starts beating and pumping with joy, because I've been working on this issue, and I see and I'm inspired by all of the other people who work every day on this issue. I get a little bit into it, but it is inspirational work. It is necessary work. And it is something that I think we've heard throughout this wonderful symposium. You can't build a future without dreaming and without imagining what is possible, but not everybody can reach those dreams and those goals, because there are so many barriers to entry. And it's something that, for me, the facts have always been so striking. And from where I started my career, meeting families who were seeking opportunities through the Greater Springfield Habitat for Humanity, to the people who contact me in my office here in Arlington today, who are in need of assistance with housing, but earning just a little bit above the income that's required and unable to find an affordable place to live that's close to where they work and where their children attend school. I field all kinds of phone calls and inquiries, and I know that the barriers are still there and that discriminatory practices are also still there. And because I do this work, because I think that as municipal officials and state officials, I think it's critical to center equity in all we do, and to address equity not just through one lens, but through the distributional lens, structural inequities, transgenerational inequities, and procedural inequities that have endured for generations. And lastly, because I see my role in the system more than ever, and I know that I have power and privilege in that system and control over many processes, and I believe that change is possible, can happen. I've seen it happen, and I know that even more change is possible. And I'm excited to be part of that and play this small role in setting out a fair housing action plan for the town of Arlington, and being able to work with so many people along the way, particularly to the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, who helped us to write this plan, and also with Diane Glauber, who also assisted in helping to fine-tune the important points about fair housing law. She's from the Fair Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. And especially to Adam, the town manager, who has been incredibly supportive of this work and committed to seeing it through. And of course, to my team here at the town in the Department of Planning and Community Development, who is just an amazing group of people to be able to work with, and all of the committees and commissions that we also work with. And lastly, really to CHAPA, you know, it's always been my pride and joy to be able to work with CHAPA in different capacities over many years, but I'm always inspired by the work. I'm happy to be part of the CHAPA family, and I feel an incredible honor just being able to have this award and this recognition on behalf of the town. And my family lets me pursue this passion every day, and I can't thank them enough as well. But to CHAPA for continuing to hold the fire against people and to communities for getting this work done. It means a great deal that you do this work and that you help to work with us to get it done. So thank you so much for this wonderful honor.